Hi guys, welcome to Football Fan Focus, the podcast and talk show dedicated to fans wanting to hear the latest news in football. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the notification button to be alerted for next time we go live on air. Hi guys, welcome to Football Fan Focus. I'm here with Aaron. How you doing, Aaron?
Yeah, not too bad, bro. Not too bad. Just been waiting to do this video for a while, and Leeds have done it. So yeah, hence why we're doing it.
Hence why we're doing it, of course. And today it is, of course, all about Bielsa. I've been contacting people across Twitter, contacting people across social media, and notifying that we're doing this video today because Leeds have done it. They have reached the Premier League once again. And we're fully excited about it. Even as a Man United fan, Aaron, I'm sure you're excited about it.
Yeah, well, mate, do you know what I mean? Obviously, growing up as a bit of a 90s boy, do you know what I mean? Leeds United, when I came of age, I sort of saw the rise of them, David O'Leary's times, with the young Leeds squad in the late 90s, Alan Smith, Harry Kewell, Jonathan Woodgate, excellent young team, and obviously progressed very far as a team. And then obviously they had their decline. So it's just great to have them back after a long time.
It is, and reunite that old rivalry between Man United and Leeds as it once was, I think.
Yeah, it was a proper rivalry back in the day as well. Yeah, I think that's from the Don Revie times as well, in an FA Cup game as well. Yeah.
I've got the Don Revie stand behind me, as you can clearly see in my green screen picture. But today, yes, it is all about Bielsa. We're going to be running through several points, including his history, all the clubs that he's managed, all the people that he's influenced as a manager, and subsequently lead to tactics, and also why we think Leeds will do well next season, if we're going to be touching on that as well. So today, we're going to be starting off, obviously, just me and Aaron chatting about Bielsa and kind of the impact he's made on football. So Aaron, as a football fan and as a kind of 90s boy watching Leeds as you grew up, what do you think? How do you think Bielsa initially, can I ask you, has rejuvenated Leeds as a manager?
Well, obviously, when you look at the amount of managers, for one, Leeds have hired to attempt to get back up there. Obviously, yes. There were times they went even further down than the Championship, and then obviously, when they got back up to the Championship, it was always sort of these mid-table, sometimes relegating threatened seasons as well.
Yes.
So I think the ownership of Leeds has been a problem as well. I think the club's not had a proper direction, possibly since the early 2000s and late 90s.
Yeah.
So I think what a great thing that Bielsa's done is that a great thing that the Leeds hierarchy have done is bring in a manager of that sort of level
caliber,
and that reputation, and literally transformed the whole environment.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Everything's fine, mate.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I thought my mic camera. All good. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's good. Everything's good.
Transformed the whole environment. So I think I attribute it to that, really. Do you know what I mean? If you bring in a man who wants to kind of transform everything from youth level, wants to sort of basically take the time to sort of one-on-one sort of give the players that Leeds haven't hardly spent any money under Bielsa as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's all about making the players that you have a lot better, which has got to be respected.
Yeah, myself as well. I mean, watching Leeds perform throughout the Championship, I think their consistency under Bielsa's regime, I think he's tactician, he's tactics. Obviously, I'm going to be going on to that a bit later. But if you look at their team in general, they're a very strong outfit. A super strong outfit. And when you look at their last run of games after the coronavirus break, you see the whole run of games, and I think they skipped ahead, 9 to 10 points ahead of West Brom.
I think that obviously the COVID was a bad time in the world, but I think it did lead to a lot of benefit in when obviously because we didn't even know if the championship was going to get completed. I think we previously on the channel did a video, thinking, oh, you know, it's a bit of a liberty that they won't get to finish it. So yeah, Leeds absolutely smashed it in that last hurdle.
They did absolutely smash it. And we're going to be talking about players like Calvin Phillips as well, one of the main pivots of that Leeds side, and several others, obviously, for the tactics that we're going to be talking about. But first of all, we're going to be talking about Bielsa in his early career. And his early career, obviously, his history. So Bielsa, pretty much as a manager himself, he started as a career as a football manager after his playing career in 1980. His first job actually was coaching the youth division in Newell's Old Boys. And then in 1990 is actually where he was tasked to giving the first team a go, and then he subsequently won 2 cups in a row, the 1990 Apertura Cup and the 91 Integración Cup, when he defeated Boca Juniors in the final. Boca Juniors, we all know as a team in the past, has been always a very good team.
Yeah. I mean, like produced a whole heap of Argentina's heroes, really.
Yeah.
River Plate, Boca, you know, Newell's, and yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And from obviously competing in the Libertadores final in 1992, he unfortunately lost to Sao Paulo on penalties, but from there he had a string of victories as well. And then his final session in South America, when he won the Clausura Cup, was actually in Mexico, when he was coaching the team in Mexico, the Vélez Sarsfield.
He was in Mexico for quite a few years after, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. And then his final victory came in 1998 under Vélez Sarsfield. So you can see that from his coaching career in South America, he was renowned, and he had a lot of influences before that from himself, playing under astute Argentinian managers, very strict managers as well. So obviously he completely he didn't dominate the South America by any stretch of the means, but people saw his tactician, his brilliance.
So people recognised his philosophy and his way of playing football at that time as a bit strange, I would say, from the stuff that I've sort of read about it. You know, it wasn't looked like football was played a very, very sort of one way, and he kind of very, very early realized that, you know, the his own, like, what the football that we take for granted now is like sort of like slightly attributed to you know, when you talk about great managers, you could possibly philosophy wise put him in there with Johan Cruyff and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, like, his sort of philosophy has sort of like really, really, you know, made a new generation of managers.
Yeah, he did make a new generation of managers. But swiftly after, of course, his history in South America, he went on to manage the Argentina squad. And this team has a whole string of names that we can mention. We're talking about Simeone, we're talking about Batistuta, we're talking about so many players. And obviously name one of them, obviously from 1998 to 2002, and all these managers, all these players, we know off by heart. I mean, Batistuta, we watched him for time at Fiorentina when he was playing. Obviously, what were the players that stood out for you during that time of Argentina?
Well, I mean, there was like loads, wasn't there? Obviously, you know, are we talking about the Argentina squad from 98 to 2002?
Yeah, 98 to 2002.
Oh, I mean, like, you know, Ayala.
Yeah.
You know, we had, who could you say? You got Simeone.
Yeah.
Crespo
was there.
Yeah. Seba Baron, I think I might have said them already. Well, Kili Gonzalez.
Yeah, so many.
So,
so many. And obviously that Argentina squad didn't really prosper. Of course, that 1998 team that beat England wasn't managed by Bielsa.
Let's not go there with this one, David.
No, we won't go there. We won't go there with this one. But if you look at Argentina overall, they did have a really good squad, but didn't contend in that 2002 World Cup. They finished third behind Sweden and England. England beat Argentina, that Argentina squad, with a penalty from Beckham.
A little bit of retribution with that Beckham celebration when he was like that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was all running up and down the touchline. But England,
I believe that we were in secondary school at that time, if I'm not
We were,
wrong.
we were, we
Yeah,
were, we were watching, that Argentina side versus England in the downstairs cafeteria where
yeah,
Mr. Bagan used to show the football down
yeah.
below. But it
I
was
wonder if schools still let their pupils watch football like they did back in our days. It's
could
crazy.
do. But yeah, since the Argentina, I mean, the Argentina squad didn't have any success, but his Olympic side did have success as they won the 2004 Olympics in Athens. And Tevez was only 20 years old when he was playing.
The new breed then, wasn't it? Really, your Mascherano's, your Tevez's, and
Exactly.
That sort of ilk.
And you can see from Tevez and Mascherano's kind of attitude in later years that they become one of the best Argentinian players to play the football. Because
Carlos Tevez is one of the best players I've ever seen, hands down. Anyway, so
exactly.
Yeah. Mascherano as well. I mean, golden
physical
generational
brutes.
talent.
Yeah, physical brutes, and they kind of mimic Bielsa in terms of his approach. You can see it off by heart.
But the work ethic and the every blade of grass, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Every blade of grass, cover every try burn yourself out until the last minute of the game. So I think that's Bielsa hands down. And then obviously after his international spell, he had a couple of spells, of course, in Europe. He had even before Argentina, he only had a little spell at Espanyol, but didn't class as anything. He then went to coach the Chile side, where obviously another whole string of players came from. He coached the Chile side for a total of 4 years, including Go on, mate.
Sorry.
No.
I think he really, his philosophy and ideas, really, I think Chile qualified for their first World Cup since 98 on that occasion. And I kind of remember that World Cup as well. Chile were lighting up a little bit as well, but obviously coming to the end, kind of ran out of steam a little bit.
Yeah, it did. So basically Chile subsequently got knocked out by Spain. When Spain, that 2010 Spain, who would beat that 2010 Spain? Nobody. So it's unfortunate they were placed in that group, and it was obviously I think they got knocked out by a team in the round of 16, but it was a Chile side that did light up the World Cup, and we all saw Chile, their play style was mimicking that kind of Bielsa kind of regime that he would put under his teams.
I think that's when obviously Alexis Sanchez as well was lighting up.
Exactly. I think that's when Arsenal made an approach to buy Alexis Sanchez.
I think it was, because he was at Barcelona. Was it Udinese or Barcelona at that time? I'm not sure.
I think it was Barcelona at that time. And then obviously Alexis Sanchez just lit up the whole World Cup, and everybody just wanted him immediately. And a very talented player, under Bielsa. And then, he came to Europe, had a spell at Bilbao. Bilbao was a great chance for him to prove his worth, and Bilbao were not, when he was actually at the helm, Bilbao were not a team to be messed with. You go to that Basque region of Spain, away from home, you're going to get hounded out by the fans, first of all. And I think Bielsa, he did get to the Europa League final. Unfortunately, get beaten by Atletico Madrid. That team was great.
I remember that year. I was as a United fan. I was surprised, but then obviously because I didn't really know, wasn't really paying attention to La Liga that much at that time, and obviously we got drawn against Bilbao, and it's a game you expect a United cakewalk.
Yeah,
that. He really got his philosophy into those players as well. And it was, as you're sort of surmising, it was they didn't get over the line, but it was an unbelievable season given the resources and stuff like that that he had there at Bilbao.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was, did you make an approach to buy Herrera after?
I think we did. Well, that was David Moyes afterwards. Yeah,
exactly. So I think under Herrera, obviously one of the players that he influenced. We're going to be talking about the players that he's influenced very soon. But his Bilbao side subsequently did reach the Copa del Rey final and the Europa League final. Obviously getting beaten by Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. At that time, the two best teams in Spain. Real Madrid weren't even in the occasion at that time, to be honest. So I think exactly sabbatical time. So. I think Bielsa did instill some merit in the world that he was there philosophy. So he was there to be taken by another team, But after, unfortunately, and I think you wanted to talk about this, obviously, he's not so good time. Obviously, you were talking about Man United anyway. So we're going to flick to a picture of Sir Alex Ferguson and Bielsa. What do you think the downturn on Bielsa was? Why do you think he had not such a good time?
Well, I think obviously, he's got the pseudonym as El Loco, you know what I mean? So I think, he's I think he's the kind of manager that if he goes to a football club, you don't have to buy into his philosophy. You need he needs to buy into what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you're not playing by what he wants to do, with it, as you've seen in history, within 2 days, like couple weeks, couple games, he will go. So I think the one thing that Leeds United have done spectacularly for me is literally just let the man roll with, and control every aspect of the football club. And I think managers that get to do that ultimately have great success. I mean, they were nearly men the year before, and to basically go again, at Leeds. Obviously, we can talk about the trial and errors at Marseille and Lazio and stuff like that, but it's more Leeds orientated. I think that championship is a hard league to go. It's 46 games. It's more than the Premier League. It's more grueling. Teams are a lot tougher. You got to respect that he's gone down. A top manager like that has gone down to the championship and basically destroyed it.
He did basically destroy it, yeah. And I think, obviously, Bielsa had a huge influence on a lot of different managers. We were going to talk about influence, and let me just read you a string of players that he had an influence. Obviously, I'm showing a picture of Zidane here, who went to visit Bielsa during his short spell at Marseille to learn about the tactics that he deployed against a Monaco side, a very good Monaco side. But from, obviously, my knowledge, the players they influenced: Gabriel Batistuta, Argentina; Alexis Sanchez of Chile; Benjamin Mendy at Marseille; Ander Herrera at Bilbao; Diego Simeone; Payet for Marseille as well. True story about Payet. He actually turned Payet into a playmaker at Marseille. So obviously he had that influence on him. Javi Martinez, Pochettino, obviously in his early career as a football player. Aymeric Laporte as a very young lad coming into the Bilbao system. Gallardo for Argentina, Llorente for Bilbao, and of course Calvin Phillips for Leeds, who's the main pivot holder of that team. And to go without saying, managers as well. Look at the managers, string of managers. Guardiola, I've already mentioned Pochettino. He influenced so many managers as well. Zidane and Diego Simeone as well. And you can see by the list of players that is very synonymous with Guardiola to actually buy ex-coached Bielsa players.
It's really funny as well that basically a lot of his sort of class of the 90s are actually turning out to be quite good managers now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's by no coincidence as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, Guardiola, obviously, I think the story I heard is that obviously I think he just went to visit Bielsa and literally just take all he could from him. Obviously, Poch sort of went through the whole, sort of youth system and, first team, and then obviously has always had him as a mentor. So it's a Sir Alex Ferguson-esque sort of relationship he has with his generals.
With his generals, exactly. And Guardiola did buy Javi Martinez to put him in Bayern Munich. He did buy Benjamin Mendy to go into Man City. So some of that, I think when you coach them for a very young age, these players, you're looking at who actually did coach them at a young age and why should I bring them on. Is because, this guy is a real boss. He's a real boss. He knows what he's doing. And then obviously, we wanted to go on to Leeds, obviously moving swiftly onto Leeds, the early time of Leeds. And Leeds in 2001, this squad here that I'm putting up, obviously, including Mark Viduka, Harry Kewell.
I'd say it's my second favourite team other than United at that time, honestly. Yeah. Like, I really, really enjoyed the O'Leary Leeds. It was quality.
Yeah.
Even the older statesmen in there as well, like Jonathan Wilcox. David Batty was in there as well.
Yeah.
Gary Crenny, Ian Hart, Lucas Radaby, Nigel Martin. Fantastic. I used to honestly back in the old FIFA game. I used to always love that league team. Dominic Matteo, Lee Bowyer. Yeah.
Crazy Leeds team. And what do you remember mostly about this Leeds team? Obviously, from the early time, obviously they wanted to rejuvenate themselves into this kind of aura that they have in the Premier League, and it's been going pretty much trending across social media. Why do you think Leeds has such a huge impact on if they return to the Premier League? This is Leeds. Why do you think they have such an impact?
Because obviously, I think it has a lot to do with the Don Revie sort of stuff. Leeds were a massive team in England and on the European scene back in the sort of early to late 70s. It's obviously Billy Brebner, lots of old school Eddie Gray. They've got a lot of synonymous sort of players with sort of really, really cracking times in football, many trophies as well. So when you transfer that, it was like a team in dormant until sort of David O'Leary basically came back. Well, no, not even they were Harold Wilkinson as well. Sorry, that missing out a bit of history there when he brought in sort of Cantona at Leeds, and they won it before the Premier League's inception as well. So then it went dormant, and then O'Leary came in again in late '97, I think it was, and literally it was like a conveyor belt of young players coming through, and it was fresh. It was really, really cool to see all of these young players come through, because United had done it, and it was like a little bit of a replication of what Ferguson had just done. It's like it, and then obviously, got Rio Ferdinand came in for 18 million quid from West Ham.
Yeah.
And just Leeds was becoming a real good place to be. It's a shame of the financial misdoings from up above.
Yeah, exactly. So they did get obviously subsequently relegated, and then relegated again. And I think Leeds overall, obviously, with their kind of changing in ownership as well. We were going to talk about obviously the Celino era of Leeds, and then moving on to the Radizani takeover, and then subsequently the Premier League return. So Radizani brought in Bielsa as a manager to now. Why do you think he did that for Leeds himself? Why did you think he did that for Leeds itself?
I think it's I don't know. When you look at I don't know this for a fact, but when you kind of look at the Wolverhampton Wanderers kind of thing, where they got investment, they brought in Nuno Espirito Santo, who was I'm not comparing it in any way. I'm just basically making a parallel.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nuno
I think it's a good parallel.
Yeah, a top manager from he was managing in Valencia, managing a few other top clubs, and then you sort of saw the success of bringing a big name. It makes sense. So I think Celino, under his sort of tenure, was just some of the managers that they were hiring. I just didn't really know what philosophy that Leeds wanted to go for. And I think at a certain time, when you're running a football club and you're running like a dormantly big football club like Leeds United, I think you just need to. I think Radizani just went, I'm going for the jugular and just gonna, do what Wolverhampton did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously we're comparing. Obviously, we really can't compare yet the Leeds 2001 team to the Premier League one that's upcoming. But we're obviously talking about Leeds now, and obviously their squad. Who do you think stands out from the squad most, Aaron, from this Leeds generation? Obviously, Calvin Phillips is one.
That's in the background. Sorry.
That's right.
So obviously Calvin Phillips. Obviously, to be honest with you, Dave, I haven't watched Leeds all season. To be honest with you, so I can only obviously chuck out a few names like Hernandez, and stuff like that. I think the last time I actually looked at an entire Leeds squad was about a year ago. So I wouldn't be able to tell you the key stars. You have to do me a favour there, mate.
Yeah, I will do a favour. Don't worry. In the tactics, of course, coming up. So for the Leeds squad, they mainly went for a 3-3-1-3 and 4-1-4-1 formation. Now, Bielsa has been famed for the 3-3-1-3 formation, mostly when he's attacking. But when he defends, the team then goes into an inverted 4-1-4-1 formation. So if you look at players like Kiko Casilla, who was brought in from Real Madrid, Cooper, White, Calvin Phillips, obviously their main kind of pivot in midfield, Alioski, Ailing, Cleach, Costa, Hernandez, Harrison, Bamford up front for Leeds. So you're looking at all these different types of players, and when you're looking at this diagram that I'm showing on screen, it shows that when they're attacking, Calvin Phillips also pushes up front. Ayling, Alioski, Cleach goes a bit more into the central position because they want to keep it compact in the midfield, but they also want to press high when a team is actually going onto them. And the first time I heard this was that Zidane video, which I watched on YouTube, where he went to visit Bielsa when he was managing Marseille, and he shows the footage of Marseille against Monaco and why exactly did he do that specific tactic against Monaco. Why is he pressing really high with a 3-3-1-3 formation? But when they're sitting in deep, they play with a 4-1 formation, 4-1-4-1 formation. The reason being is because it's like a two banks of four, but it's not, because they still have that central defensive midfielder, and they have
you can release the wingers very quickly as well to transition and attack.
Exactly. But if obviously you're going to be watching this diagram after, but you see the system still stays the same. The system always stays the same. So depending upon Leeds who they play, if they play with a two-man attack force, he goes with a 3-3-1-3. But if he plays with a one-man attack force, like a 4-2-3-1, he goes with a 4-1-4-1 formation. So the reason being is because the 3-3-1-3 against a two-man attack covers more of a pitch area. And Arsene Wenger actually made this on a very weird FIFA video where he says the 4-4-2 formation is the formation that covers the most area of the pitch across the play of game.
Absolutely does.
It does. Yeah. And people try to invert it with a 4-2-3-1 formation and so forth. So this 4-1-4-1 formation that Bielsa deployed is a bit of a different take. It does cover a lot of the pitch, but also has that centre defensive midfielder there sitting in just in case they do break through that midfield.
It seems like a bit of like when you're looking at the tactics on the screen there, it looks very like asymmetric.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, as in, you know what I mean, the players, it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like ambidextrous. Do you know what I mean? You can attack and defend at the same time.
Exactly. So you see the screen on the right shows Phillips pushing up forward a bit more when they go to a 4-1-4-1. So it does resemble more of a less of a 4-4-2 formation, you see? But when they're attacking, Phillips sits a bit deeper, but he does push up regardless because he still wants to put that high press. If a team tries to break them, they still have that high press. So they either need to do a looping ball over the top. And I think the only manager that can counteract this next season probably is Klopp and a few others.
Well, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Tactically, it's going to be a treat, isn't it?
It is going to be tactically a treat. And imagine Guardiola against Bielsa next season. I think that's going to be crazy. But obviously Bamford has been playing really well. Obviously Calvin Phillips is one of the main players for Leeds. Casilla had that incident where he was suspended on 5 games. I think it's 5 a week or so forth. Or 5 games based upon a few racist outmarks, but
a
few racist outmarks. But I think he's going to be back next season, and I think Leeds overall have a strong squad. But who do you think they should approach? Obviously, Bielsa was actually scouting at Bournemouth versus Everton the other day. Why do you think he was doing that as a manager?
I don't know. Possibly, you know, you could just appreciate, you know, and have a look at the tactics deployed in such a, you know, sort of a game of such meaning of survival.
Yeah.
For Bournemouth as well. So it could be that aspect, or it could be he's looking at, you know, just he could admire what Eddie Howe does and trying to adapt that. I mean, it could be countless reasons. But yeah, I look at it as a very interesting prospect because I think Bielsa's, just with the clout of him and his prestige, I think a lot of players would like to go to play for him.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
You know, so I think you know, it's having that. I think has got to be attributed to what the Leeds United hierarchy might have wanted to bring in Bielsa as well, because you've seen it with Nuno as well.
Yeah,
that sort of like Portuguese network that he has as well. I think, you know, possibly a similar thing could happen at Leeds as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Bielsa maybe look into Bournemouth because he knew that potential of relegation. He could just get a few players from Bournemouth.
Yeah, as well. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, that could be it. That could be it.
It could be it. It could be it. And maybe looking at Everton as well. I mean, if you look at players like Calvert-Lewin for Everton.
I think he is Mr. Everton. I don't think he'll move on yet. I think Carlo actually really likes Calvin.
And Carlo. I mean, the thing about the Premier League now is look at all these string of managers coming into the next season. You got Bielsa, you got Carlo Ancelotti, at starting afresh with Everton. Pretty much, you got Klopp, you got Guardiola, you got all these different players, and it's a crazy thing to find out. Obviously, what's going to happen. So we're going to round it up with where do you think Leeds are going to finish next season? What's your prediction for Leeds next season, Aaron?
I actually think, just like I think a lot of people get carried away. You know, what Sheffield United have done this year and all that has been. Not every team can come up and do that. So I think the first thing is just keep your place in the Premier League.
Yes.
I know they could probably transcend that a little bit, but I think after you not being there for a long time, you've got to stay here. And I think this is what a lot of clubs like Bournemouth and, you know, they do that well, but then, you know, where do you go after that? So even Burnley as well, it's like Burnley are sort of stuck in where, you know, what are we? Are we a relegation fighting side? Are we a top 10 side? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I think you've got to solidify yourself as a Premier League team and then move on from that.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Bielsa's first year in the Premier League is finding his feet. I think they will finish roughly maybe 9th to 11th place as a side.
I'll go for that as well. Yeah,
I think about 9th to 11th place. I think they have a very good squad at the moment. And I think they can capitalize on a few good transfers. Of course, we're winning the championship. They will have a transfer budget going into the Premier League. Obviously, TV rights are more. And Ellen Road is a big stadium to go to. And I think,
I don't know. Well, for instance, David, you know what I mean? We you know, might be heading down there, football fan focus. You never know.
Could do. So that's pretty much rounded up. Obviously, our Bielsa tribute are all about Bielsa's show. Please, obviously, like, subscribe, and comment down below if you want to hear more different topics on maybe managers that you like as an individual. And different shows that we can do. Put your suggestions down below, and don't forget to hit the notification button to be notified and alerted next time we go live on air. So, Aaron, any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, just big up Leeds United, big up all of the Leeds United fan base, and you know, it's a long and strenuous wait, but you know, some of the best things in life you have to wait for.
That is true. Liverpool took 30 years. You never know. We could see Leeds triumphant in the next maybe 5 to 10 years.
Leeds against Man United next year. I think I'm definitely gonna have to get a ticket, mate.
That's a good game. That's definitely a good game. At Ellen Road or Old Trafford?
Either.
Either. Perfect. So that's myself, David, and Aaron, of course, signing out. See you next time. And next time we're probably going to have another manager special, but it could be a player special. Who knows? We'll see you at the